This RTD Interactive Town Hall is currently in music hold. In a few minutes, you'll get first-hand information from RTD on changes that will transform public transportation in the Denver region. If you'd like to ask a question during tonight's event, press star 3 on your telephone keypad at any time. Please note this call may be monitored, recorded, or rebroadcast. Your RTD Interactive Town Hall will begin shortly.
Good evening, and thank you for joining this live virtual telephone town hall meeting hosted by the Regional Transportation District, also known as RTD. I'm Roger, and I'll be your moderator tonight as we have a conversation with RTD District M Director, Marjorie Sloan. District M includes the cities of Lakewood, Golden, and Wheat Ridge, and parts of unincorporated Jefferson County. We also have NC staff joining us to answer your questions, and they'll introduce themselves later during the call. Tonight, we will be covering several topics, including customer safety initiatives, RTD's fare study and equity analysis, current recruitment efforts, and the next steps for Reimagine RTD. This is your opportunity to share your thoughts about RTD and ask questions. This is your first time on a virtual telephone town hall. Here's how it works. To ask a question, just press star 3 on your telephone keypad, and you'll be transferred to an operator who will take down some basic information and get you in the queue. Once the operator has your information, you can listen to the conversation until it's your turn, and then I'll call your name and ask you to please repeat your question for our live audience. We want to answer as many questions as possible tonight, so please be brief. If you are participating online at rtd-denver.com/town hall, you can ask a question or take part in polls directly from the streaming player. And folks on the phone can also either go to the RTD website or our YouTube channel to watch the slide deck. And finally, for those of you watching our live stream on social media, you can submit your questions as a comment. We want to hear from you also. In addition to answering questions live, we will be asking for survey questions during the call, and I'll explain that process later. So it's now my pleasure to introduce District M Director Marjorie Sloan. Thank you for joining us tonight, Director. Go ahead.
Thank you, Roger. And thanks also to everyone in on this conversation, our hardworking and talented RTD staff, and especially our callers who are interested enough in public transit that you are investing your time with us tonight. As an introduction, I have been the District M RTD Director for about 18 months. Before that, I was a mayor of Golden, where my family has lived for a long time. I am your West Jeffco neighbor and maybe your seatmate on a local rail or bus line someday. As for another personal note, I would like to recognize how easy it is, for me at least, to be discouraged right now. We are living under a steady barrage of dismaying, sad, and even horrifying news. Yet it is heartening and uplifting to meet, even virtually, the many people who persevere in making a positive difference in our world. We have generous neighbors who lend a hand on many projects and issues, and it's really heartwarming to meet them. Tonight, all of us on this line are transit teammates offering our time to make RTD service better, because we know that good public transit is important. It is environmentally sound. It limits congestion, connects people to opportunities, provides support for people with disabilities, gets riders to their destinations safely, and stimulates the economy. As Roger said, this evening's transit conversation will focus on 4 issues: safety and security, fares and equity, RTD's workforce, and Reimagine RTD. We will answer your questions and share important updates. Again, to ask a question, press star 3 or enter your question or comment online. Before we dive into our first topic, let's learn a little bit about each other. Roger, how about surveying our volunteers tonight? with a survey question.
Absolutely, Director. As the Director mentioned, we'd like to learn a little bit about those joining us tonight. It is easy to participate. All you need to do is use your telephone keypad to enter the number of your response. And if you're participating online, just type or click your response. So here's that question. How frequently do you ride RTD services? Press 1 for every day. Press 2 for once or twice a week. Press 3 for once or twice a month. Press 4 if you ride a few times per year. And press 5 if you do not currently ride with RTD. Please record your vote now, and I'll share the results with you in just a moment. And again, to ask a question or make a comment, just press *3 on your telephone keypad. Get in line early because we're going to go to questions here very soon. Or if you're participating online, just enter your question on the streaming player. There has been a lot of news coverage about safety concerns in the Denver metro area. I'd like to ask Steve Martingano, Interim Chief of RTD's Transit Police Division, to introduce himself and talk about what RTD is doing to help improve safety on transit and at RTD stations and bus stops. Chief, welcome. Go ahead.
Well, thanks, Roger, and thanks everyone that's participating tonight. My name is Steve Martingano. I'm right now the Interim Police Chief of the RTD Transit Police Division. I've been in law enforcement for 29 years and have served within RTD for the last 6.5 years. One of the things I continue to hear when I was first employed here and as chief is concerns about inappropriate behavior that people are seeing around the city lately. And as more and more people are utilizing transit again, whether you're coming back to work or you're just going out for a night on the town, safety and security is definitely our top priority for RTD. Every day, our staff work hard to make sure that customers get to their destination safely. And, we put a lot of emphasis on security, whether it be our staffing or our security cameras. But one of the main concerns is unwanted activities at the transit areas around Denver Union Station. So our CEO reached out to the mayor of Denver in April, and in collaboration with the city and county of Denver, we have announced security enhancements that we are going to be doing to the bus concourse, which is the bus terminal underneath the Union Station platforms. In short term right now, we're doing some lighting is being replaced. We went around there and checked bulbs and different areas of lighting to see, if we could enhance better lighting for people's safety. So we have done that, and I learned today that we're about 75% in completing that in regards to all the different lighting that we have added. We're also changing certain areas. The entrance and exit points are being converted to emergency exits to allow for better pedestrian flow. And our cleaning crew, which do an amazing job to begin with, are doing double duties and really deep cleaning the area to make sure everyone feels comfortable. But this is a long-term plan, so over the next 12 to 16 months, our goal is to make the bus concourse, again, the underground bus terminal, be converted to a paid fare area. And this will allow us to restrict access to those that, are utilizing our buses for commuting. So this involves a redesign of the whole entire area. This is going to cost approximately $10 to $15 million to do, and we recognize that these are expensive upgrades. And under one of our strategic priorities is financial success, and RTD takes very seriously the management of all of our financial resources, and this project is no exception. So what we're planning to do is we are going to reinvest the funds from the return of the approximately $29 million credit risk premium, which was part of the original investment into Union Station, and we're going to utilize that money to implement and construct design improvements to enhance the customer experience when you're utilizing our station.
Director, how can customers stay up to date on these changes? That was a lot of information.
It is a lot of information, and it keeps changing. So RTD has launched a web page dedicated to providing updates on the facility enhancements at Union Station. That web page is rtd-denver.com/projects/restoring-DUS. But frankly, it's easier to just go to the RTD-Denver website and search for it rather than taking notes on what the website should be. And customers can also sign up for a newsletter on the website. In addition to the enhancements at Denver Union Station, RTD is making other changes to ensure customers are safe when traveling. Chief, would you talk about those changes?
Yeah, absolutely, Director. So, again, I'm interim police chief, and I was appointed that in the end of March. And one of the first things I did was I turned our police division into a more proactive policing style rather than reactive. And what does that mean is I broke our police staff into 4 impact teams. One's dedicated to bus, another one is dedicated to rail. We have a community engagement officer who goes out and goes to different communities. They'll attend HOA meetings just to talk about RTD or answer any RTD questions to our customers or the people that live around the stations and bus stops. And then our last is the mental health and homeless outreach impact team. For those that don't know, RTD was the first public transportation in the country that did a co-responder unit. And that means is we place mental health clinicians with our police officers, and their sole duties are to go out there and contact individuals that are experiencing mental health episodes. That has been so successful that we then put in for a federal grant, and we were awarded money to go ahead and hire a homeless outreach coordinator. So we have somebody full-time on our staff that reaches out to different counties and cities, finds out where the outreach organizations are to assist those in need, and they work with individuals they contact along our routes to direct them to the proper areas to get their services. But we're a hybrid system, so we also rely on other security measures. One is secondary employment officers. So RTD has a IGA, which is an intergovernmental agreement with Denver, Aurora, and Thornton, and we hire those police officers on their days off. They come and work for RTD, and they handle calls in their cities to test us. And we also have a contracted security team, which is probably the first faces that everyone sees when they get on our trains and our properties. We currently have a security contract that allows us to hire up to 295 security officers, and they're out there making sure you're safe. So these changes in partnerships with the local police departments really help RTD quickly respond to customer safety issues.
Steve, we sometimes get calls from customers who wonder why the commuter rail lines, including the A and G lines, have armed security on each train, but the light rail lines do not always have an officer or one of those security personnel you talked about. Why is that?
Roger, that's a great question. We hear that every day. The reason why is the commuter rail trains are larger, heavier rail, and they also share the train lines with Burlington North and other railroad companies. So it's the Federal Railroad Administration places a requirement to have a second crew member on those commuter rail lines. So that's the A line that goes to the airport, the B line to Westminster, the G line to Arvada, and the N line to Thornton. So you will see a second crew member, and RTD has chosen to place a security officer on all those lines. We're actually on the N line. We're actually hiring that internally as RTD employees. So you'll see that change here very shortly in regards to the one that goes to Thornton. While the other rail lines are not required to have a second crew member, we do place a lot of security along those lines. Like I mentioned earlier, the rail impact team is out there, and in conjunction with the local police departments as well as our security personnel, they are out there checking fares, ensuring customers are traveling safely while on those trains. But what is probably the most valuable tool we have throughout RTD is our free Transit Watch app. So if you have an Apple or an Android phone, if you go to the app stores, you could download the RTD Transit Watch app, and it's free to download. And this allows customers to report security and safety concerns easily and discreetly. It's text-based, so if you are on one of the vehicles and you can't actually verbalize something and you feel it's better for your safety to go ahead and text it, that goes right to one of our 2 police dispatch centers. We have 2 of them, one that deals with our commuter rail as well as our bus rapid system, which is a Flatiron Flyer, and the second one does our light rail and the rest of our bus routes. For those that don't have a smartphone or cannot download apps, you can call us at 303-299-2911, and again, that goes directly to one of our two police dispatch centers. One thing we do ask, either way, if you call or you go ahead and you utilize the Transit Watch app, is to please be as specific as possible when reporting a situation. Let us know your location, what type of vehicle you're on, and most important, please give us the description of the person that you are seeing that is doing something suspicious. As you realize that we are a mobile transit, public transportation. They might get off at a stop. Please let us know updates if you're able to. But the detail in this is what's most important to us, just so we can know which resources to go ahead and send. And when you submit an incident report, I am telling you that you are helping our team not only resolve situations, but also provide information that helps us determine where we should be deploying our resources. So every time you use that app and you let us know what you're seeing out there, we calculate that data, and we move our security and police around to make sure that we're there to be proactive at the right times.
Thank you, Steve. That's a lot of good information. Before we get to your questions, here's the answers to our first survey question. Again, we asked, how frequently do you ride RTD services? 36% of you said a few times per year. 21% said once or twice a week. 22% of you do not currently ride RTD, and 14% of you ride every day. We appreciate that. We are working hard to reduce pollution and congestion, and those customers choosing to take transit are contributing to that goal. And if you're not currently using transit, we're really working hard to improve our services and increase the number of you that do take transit instead of driving. So give us a try. All right, let's get to your questions. We are going to start with Richard. Richard, go ahead.
Hi there, good evening. This is a question for Director Sloan, and it's, when did you last ride an RTD bus or train? How was your experience?
All right. Thank you, Richard, for that question. Thursday night, I went from the Golden Jefferson County station on the W line to a hotel in downtown Denver on the mall for an awards dinner for folks working on affordable housing. And that was one of those inspiring times when people were just so dedicated to helping others. We heard about initiatives to house veterans, to house students who were aging out of foster care. So I had another chance to feel good about the world. And I felt good about RTD as well. My trip from Golden to Denver Union Station and then the mall shuttle to California Street was absolutely seamless and really pleasant. The train looked very neat. The people were all very law-abiding, and the connection with the mall shuttle was seamless. I took the mall shuttle back to Union Station and rode then again to the Taj in Golden, and I did have an opportunity to use a Transit Watch app. There was someone who was sitting on the train taking out a lot of equipment for drug usage. And I used the Transit Watch app to send that in. He did not use drugs on the train. He got off before that, but I felt good and safe about being able to report it. So I would say RTD served me very well for that trip. Thanks for your question.
Thank you. Again, press *3 on your telephone keypad if you have a question. We'll get you in the queue right away. Sherry is next. Go ahead, Sherry.
Hi, that would be me. I am a long-term fan of RTD. Loved it before even the light rail came along. When I worked downtown, I took it every day to get to work. Now I'm retired, and I use it just occasionally to get downtown and to the airport, which is wonderful, or at least it used to be wonderful. I start with Golden and go all the way out to the airport. Going downtown isn't that much of a problem, but for an old lady like me, going out to the airport, I like to make a stop in between at Union Station and go to the restroom. The restrooms are no longer available to RTD customers at Union Station, and the last time I went into the one at the bus terminal, it scared me terrifically with the drug use, people taking baths in sinks, things appeared to be broken. Is there going to be anything there, or does it make me want to do that again?
Hey, Sherry, this is Steve Martingale. Thanks a lot for your question. That is exactly true in regards to the bathrooms down in the bus terminal. We did have to make some changes there because they were being used for non-lavatory usage. So we actually are redesigning those bathrooms. We have doors that were ordered, and we are victim to the shortage of supplies on materials. So we are waiting for those doors to come in. Once they do come in, they're going to obviously be placed on the bathrooms, and we already made some different measures there to add some cameras and everything else to see who's going in and out of the bathroom, and to control that better. Now, the bathrooms you're talking about inside Union Station Great Hall, that building is owned by RTD, but it's actually leased, and I believe it's Sage Hospitality. I can't recall exactly who has the lease agreement, but they have restrictions for their bathrooms to be used by customers only. So if you were to buy something within the Great Hall itself, you can utilize their bathrooms, but it is not serviced, it is not run, or anything related to RTD. They actually have a separate security contract within the Great Hall itself, so that sometimes people will confuse the two. That is not RTD; it's actually Sage Hospitality. So.
Steve. All right, great question so far. Again, as a reminder, to ask a question on the phone, just press *3. And if you're participating online, you can enter your question directly from the streaming player or in comments on YouTube. We're going to move on to our next topic for tonight's call, RTD's Fair Study and Equity Analysis. I'm going to call on Chris Quinn. Chris, would you introduce yourself and provide an update?
Hi, Roger. Yeah, this is Chris Quinn. I am with RTD's planning department, and I'm a part of the project management team for the Fair Study and Equity Analysis. So just a real quick introduction to the study. RTD has heard quite a bit from our customers that our current fare structure is just too expensive and very confusing to use. And we last conducted a fare study back in 2016, and we also did an analysis of our past programs in 2019 where we did some simplification, but yeah, we're still hearing from the public that it's confusing and expensive. Now, one of RTD's strategic priorities is customer excellence, and that's where we strive to deliver consistent, high-quality customer service. And with that in mind, the Fair Study and the Equity Analysis will help us to identify areas where we can improve the customer experience when taking transit. So this project seeks to understand customers' opinions and preferences on current RTD fares, and then determine how RTD can improve them. Now, to date, RTD has hosted 2 public meetings, one that was conducted solely in Spanish, and we've also had 3 customer feedback panels, as well as some pretty extensive interviews, even with our internal RTD groups, including our bus operators and fare inspectors. In addition, we've invited customers to provide feedback on the current fare structure using a survey. That survey did close about a couple of weeks ago, but it was available in English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. And for that, we received over 2,400 responses. And one more thing that I might add, the FAIR study will continue. We expect it to continue through through 2022, and we expect to go to the board of directors probably in the spring of 2023. So about a year from now, we expect to have the effort wrapped up. So there will be more opportunities for customers to share their ideas. And then also want to note that during the summer, there will be additional involvement possibilities. We have meetings scheduled for June 23rd and June 29th at 6 p.m. The June 29th meeting, that one will be in Spanish, the 23rd in English. And then in the fall, we will connect with the public once more to get more feedback on a refined list of FAIR alternatives. I do want to note also that before any changes to FAIR products go into effect, there will be a public hearing process where the public can see the final proposed changes and offer their feedback.
Thanks, Chris, for that important information about community engagement. And I have another question for you, but I hope Sherry is still on the line. I just want her to know we all feel her pain and hope that the situation concerning facilities is completed in a satisfactory way just as soon as possible. But back to Chris, where can people learn more about the FAIR study process?
Yeah, so customers that are interested in offering feedback can sign up for updates on RTD's website, and that's www.rtd-denver.com. Or to keep it simple, if you just type into a search bar RTD FAIR Study, that'll take you right to the FAIR Study webpage. And I just, as long as I have everybody here as a plug, just want to remind everybody that RTD currently does offer several discounts. We have discounts for fairs for youth, people with disabilities, and seniors. And additionally, we also have discounts available for low-income residents as part of the RTD Live program. And likewise, information on those programs can also be found online. If you just go to the RTD webpage, go to fairs, and under the fairs, there's a section for discount fairs, and you can find more information there on what you might be eligible for. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that information. Again, for callers who would like to ask a question, press *3. We're going to take a moment to ask our second survey questions. Just use your telephone keypad to enter the number of your response, and if you're participating online, just click or type your response. Here's the question. Do you believe that RTD fares should be more affordable, even if it results in less service? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no, and press 3 if you're not sure. Record your vote. We'll share the results with you in a few minutes, and we're going to go back to your questions. First one is going to be from Andrea. Andrea submitted a question. I often travel alone on RTD. What should I do if I'm suddenly in a situation that makes me feel unsafe? Steve or Marjorie, what would you do?
Yeah,
Steve,
well,
I will defer to you.
Thank you, Director. And I think you answered perfectly when you were describing your recent W-Line experience. The Transit Watch app is a direct link right into our police dispatch center. And, just like the director had stated what she had seen, and she typed into our Transit Watch app. If we don't have someone close by, I told you all the resources we have, which is a lot of resources, and we try to, utilize them to make everyone's trip as safe as possible. But if we're just not in the area, we're not close enough, we will reach out to the local police departments and ask them for assistance, let them know what's going on. So again, the Transit Watch app is probably the greatest tool you could have on your phone, and you will get some type of response back from either our security or police division to make sure that we handle the situation you're in.
Yeah, thank you. We have a question from Caleb. He asks, how does RTD define equity? Chris, do you want to take that?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was prattling away on mute. Sorry. So yeah, when we're talking about equity, especially in regards to transit, what we're talking about is making sure that we're working towards and promoting the fair distribution of resources and opportunities with a strong emphasis on historically underrepresented communities and Title VI protected populations. I want to note that RTD does strive to ensure that plan changes to our services or to our fares will not negatively impact customers based on race, color, or national origin, or if low-income populations will bear a disproportionate burden of the changes. So kind of a bit of a condensed summary, but that's in very general terms what we're talking about when we talk about equity.
Okay, again, *3 if you'd like to ask a question. We have another question from Lou online. Will RTD consider free fares?
Yeah, a good question, and that's one we've received quite a bit in our public meetings that we did have in April. Right now, even though fares constitute a relatively small piece of our operating budget, approximately 10%, we recognize that if we were to go fare-free, that would mean a corresponding service cut of approximately, and it's not one for one, but we would have a corresponding service cut of approximately 10%. And given the fact that our services have been somewhat curtailed due to the pandemic, we're a little bit leery about going in that direction. We still have all options on the table, but it's one that, going into it even at the beginning, we're not sure if that's something that could be feasible. But again, we will be looking at that.
And Roger, this is Director Sloan. I do have something to add, and that is the legislature has provided potential funding for zero fare time in the summer, which is, of course, our highest ozone emission time. And RTD will be applying for funding for that for later in the summer during our hot month. And the good news is the bill signing for that Senate Bill 180 will take place tomorrow at Denver Union Station at 4:15. Also, the board is talking about supporting election turnout in two ways. One, and this has not been finalized, this is early news, but we're discussing perhaps zero fares on Election Day itself, and in conjunction with that, placing voting drop boxes on RTD property to make it convenient for our customers to vote and by turning in their ballots earlier. So this is something that the board is aware of, that people will not only ride and try transit if it is zero fare for a day or weeks, and hopefully RTD will provide service that meets the customer's needs, and then the customers will fold that into their regular lifestyle after trying it out without a monetary investment.
Exciting news about the signing of that bill. Thanks for sharing that information. Let's hear about our survey results. We asked, do you believe that RTD fares, I'm sorry, that is not it. Lost my place. Sorry, hold on. My goodness. All right, let's just go to another question. And here we go. I'm so sorry. Here's the results. I couldn't find it. We asked, do you believe that RTD fares should be more affordable, even if it results in less service? And 67% of you weren't sure, and the rest of you said no. No one seems to, at least on this call, want us to reduce service. We certainly understand that. All right. Thank you for those who have joined us late. This is a live virtual telephone town hall hosted by RTD. I'm Roger, your moderator, and we are talking with District M Director Marjorie Sloan, and agency staff are also answering your questions. You can ask a question or make a comment by pressing *3 on your telephone keypad. Let's go back to some questions that have been submitted online. And the next question came in from Carol. My bus stop doesn't have a bench. How can I request RTD install one?
And this is Director Sloan. I have had many emails about this, and I can tell you that staff is very responsive, and I'm sure there's someone online right now who can provide a detailed answer.
Director, this is Tegan Rice, Senior Rail Service Planner in Service Development. We do get the question occasionally. Usually bus stops require, we're talking about a bench. You can actually go to our website, and I think it's the bus stop request and modifications form. Usually I use the search on the RTD website. It's easier for me to find things. And that's where you can request to add a bench to your bus stop, or let's see here, other things people have asked for, trash cans. Usually, though, it has to go through an approval process. Any bus stop modification requires that we have a sidewalk that meets ADA requirements, and then a bench also. We have to make sure that it isn't placed in a place so that the buses can't deploy their ramps for people who need to use the ramp either for their shopping carts or some other mobility device.
Thank you, Tegan.
Thank you, Tegan. Here's our next question. It came in from Stephanie. She asked, there isn't bus service in my area. How can I request a flex ride route? You've got some flex ride routes, I believe, in District M, Director. Is that correct?
We do have flex ride routes. They are no longer, as in the rest of the district, they are no longer circulating. So you need to plan ahead and subscribe. They're very popular. And as I understand it, when there is more workforce available, which will be our next topic, flex rides will be added into the mix because they are essential for people to getting that last mile, first mile connection or local connection. I don't have the phone number for the Flex Ride subscription or reservation. Is there someone else on the line who could provide that information?
Director, we'll get that and come back to the answer.
Great.
So if you're interested, grab a pencil because we're going to give you the information here in a second.
Great.
While we're getting that number, let's move on and ask our third survey question. Again, use your telephone keypad or enter or click your response. Here is that question. What factor would increase your likelihood of taking RTD services the most? Press 1 for more affordable fares. Press 2 for a system where you feel safe. Press 3 for more frequent bus and train service. And press 4 for more service coverage in your area. While you are recording your vote, I'll ask Director Sloan to introduce our next topic.
Thank you, Roger. And as I just said, thanks to the last question about flex rides, let's talk about people power. At RTD, we have a workforce of over 3,500 employees. Positions include bus and rail operators, mechanics, administrative staff, and many more. Tegan, you're on again. Would you again introduce yourself and your title and talk a little bit about our workforce?
Thank you, Director. Again, my name is Tegan Rice. I am the Senior Rail Service Planner in Service Development. So I've been with RTD for 8 years, the last 6 in Service Development, where I have been doing the train schedules. And in order to actually make any adjustments to the schedule or increase service, we need people. And one of RTD's strategic priorities is employee ownership, through which we seek to attract and retain a highly skilled and engaged workforce. We are people who move people, and we want to connect people through our transit system, making it reliable, and by doing so, we need to hire people for key positions. So this is where I get to beg and plead. If anybody on the call or online knows a friend, family member, or even if yourself are looking for a meaningful career in public transit, we're hiring for many positions besides bus operators, rail operators, mechanics, body shop technicians. But if you are interested in any of the key positions that I mentioned for bus and rail operators and mechanics, the RTD is offering a $4,000 signing bonus.
Director, what are some of these benefits that you would like to share for those considering joining RTD? What are you most excited about?
Roger, there's a new collective bargaining agreement in town. It was signed in February of this year by the Amalgamated Transit Union, ATU, Local 1001, and RTD. It offers additional benefits to employees with positions covered under the union. RTD offers competitive wages, educational allowances, an excellent retirement savings plan, and paid in-house training programs, to name just a few. What you may not know, RTD also offers an extensive training program where you can learn to operate a train. If you're interested in being a bus operator, we can help you get a commercial driver's license or CDL. Individuals interested in joining RTD are encouraged to review the open positions on RTD's website, www.rtd-denver.com/careers. If you don't see a position you are interested in now, check back often. We always have something new. Roger, why don't we pause for a couple questions?
All right, let's hear from Richard on the phone. Go ahead. You're live. Hello, Richard. You're on. What's your question?
Oh, yeah. Hi there. Sorry. This question is for Director Sloan, and it's noting that she took a trip from Golden into Denver. I wanted to look at the fastest way RTD provides service between downtown Denver and Golden. You have the 16, which if you take all the way is 68 minutes. 16 of the W, change at Oak, 59 minutes. And then you have the situation with the Flex Ride, which is kind of unsatisfactory. If you time a train in the middle of the day that gets in 37 minutes past the hour into Jeffco, you then have to wait 23 minutes to the hour for that Flex Ride to actually take you on into Golden. So that's 72 minutes. Would Sloan support improvements in that, either by doing a better connected shuttle or even considering running a dedicated shuttle from the G line at Ward Road, which some estimates say could get an end-to-end journey time between Denver and Golden at 42 minutes. That compares somewhere near the 25 minutes it takes by car.
Thank you, Richard. It's good to talk to you again. And I'm going to divide your question into 2 parts. One is, what's the fastest way to get from Golden to downtown Denver? A lot depends on when you're going, what side of town you want to be on. Do you have luggage? All those kind of considerations to choose between the 16, the W line, or the G line, which ends some distance from Golden in Wheat Ridge, which is also in District M and serves the western side and actually the southern side of Wheat Ridge really well. The second part is, are you considering running shuttles? And you suggest one from Ward Road Station at the end of G Line into Golden, so that you get a 2-seat ride to downtown by the faster G Line trip into down. It has fewer stops, as I'm sure you know, and it goes faster. But it does end some distance from Golden. So I would say, RTD really appreciates people pitching in with ideas for service and improvement of RTD. And so much depends on funding that service, and right now the biggest constraint is what we were just talking about, and that is our limited workforce. There are other shuttles that need to be in consideration in District M. For instance, I'm working with Red Rocks, Warren Tech, and the alternative high schools up the hill from the Red Rocks station, because a shuttle would be really desirable there, and it too is on hold because of workforce considerations. The good news is that we're having broad talks with local partners, and I think Golden City Council is very interested in running some type of circulating shuttle through Golden, and I know Mines is interested in running a circulating system for not just their students, but also visitors and residents. So the answer to your question about shuttle service is not at this time. It's a great idea. I appreciate your bringing it up, and it will be continued to be studied. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Richard. Here are the results of our third survey question. Again, we asked, what factor would increase your likelihood of taking RTD services? A huge 67% of you said more frequent bus or train service. And 17% said safer system, and 16% said more service in my area. Thank you very much. Again, I think Director Sloan, you wanted to share the phone number
right.
to get more information.
Right. Our great staff explained some further information about booking the Flex Ride, and you can book the trip online using RTD's new mobile app, or you can call 303-299-6000, option 2, to talk to a customer care representative. So, that service works perfectly for people who have very scheduled trips. Circulating Flex Ride would serve some other folks, and we hope we can get that service back.
All right, thank you for that additional
information. No, I'm sorry, I just have to make a correction. It's not the RTD mobile app in general. It's the RTD Flex Ride app that you have to download. Sorry about that.
All right, thank you for that information. Let's move on to our next topic, and I'm going to call on Chris Quinn again to update us on Reimagine RTD, the agency's plan for the next 5 years. Chris, we're running a little long on the hours, so if you'd be concise.
Yeah.
So just real quick, the Reimagine RTD efforts, planning effort to develop and address transit challenges as we move into our next era, and answering the question of what's next. Obviously, some of the current challenges that we are facing include reductions in ridership resulting from the pandemic and our limited options for increased funding. Now, there's two components to Reimagine RTD, and they include a systems optimization plan, which is a redesign of RTD services to balance the needs of the traveling public with the financial realities that we're facing. The other component is the mobility plan for the future, and that's the identification of a long-term plan and long-term strategies between now and 2050 to address future mobility needs. Now, we've just completed the first component. That's the system optimization plan, and that was released earlier this year. We've received, I think, it was almost a couple of thousand comments on that. We've incorporated those comments where we could, and our expectation is to take the system optimization plan to the board of directors for their review and approval in July of this summer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Keegan, Keegan, I subscribe to RTD service alerts, and sometimes there are cancellations on my route. What is RTD doing to mitigate those cancellations?
Thanks, Roger. So RTD does its best to make sure that we get all of our scheduled trips covered. However, due to our personnel shortages, if an operator calls in sick and there's no longer an extra board operator, I sign up for the service alert, so it sends a little notification that lets me know which trips were canceled, which stops are affected, if it's a bus route, based on the relief points for some of the routes. And also, we try to make sure that if it is the last trip of a route that was dropped or a train, that even if it's a supervisor, they'll hop in a vehicle and run out and run that last trip to make sure that we're not leaving anybody stranded on the side of a curb. So I recommend signing up for service alert, and Next Ride and Trip Planner also are integrated with that, so it won't tell you to plan a trip around anything that's canceled.
All right, we have one more survey question this evening. Again, use your telephone keypad to enter the number of your response. Here's the question. How satisfied are you with RTD's services overall? Press 1 for very satisfied. Press 2 for satisfied. Press 3 for somewhat dissatisfied. And press 4 for very dissatisfied. Director, we're coming almost out of time. What else would you like to share with our audience tonight about RTD or your district?
Sure. I will be really interested in the results of this survey. I appreciate so much everyone calling in. I can tell people are invested in RTD and have experience with it and sincerely want to be part of it and making it better. So thank you, Transit Volunteer Corps. You are appreciated. And good night. Oh, and the results are coming in, and Roger will give you that information in just a moment, I'm sure. Thank you all.
I will. We do have time for one more question, or maybe two, so we'll do that, and then I'll share the results with everyone. Why don't we take this one? I think this is appropriate. James asked, when are we going to get Bronco Ride back? We love our Broncos here.
Director Sloan, this is Tegan with Service Development. If you want, I can answer that question for you.
I would appreciate that. Thanks, Tegan.
Okay, so currently right now, due to the operator shortages, Broncos Ride is not anticipated to come back for 2023 unless by some huge wave we get a bunch of people in our classes for training and are ready. But RTD is increasing capacity on the rail system to accommodate Broncos. So what that means is we add cars to the trains. So we're recommending people go to the light rail or the commuter rail to get to the Broncos. Otherwise, there's also the bus routes 30 and 31 to get to the station.
Great. Here's one more question that came in from, and this goes back to our workforce issues director. Ava said, I heard about, you mentioned the $4,000 signing bonus for working with RTD. Is this bonus available for all jobs?
It is available for the unionized jobs. Let me see if I can. Well, how about if I bounce the question to someone else, because this is really important, and $4,000 could make a big difference to someone. All right, the signing bonus applies to certain job openings that are unionized. Examples we have on our website right now that are eligible for the bonus are body shop techs, bus and rail operators, mechanics, service and cleaning, and public safety dispatchers. So those are key positions for RTD and the traveling public. So if you're not interested, tell somebody that you think will be interested. So thank you for that question.
Thank you for the information. That's it's impressive, $4,000. Check out our websites. Here are the results of our last survey question. We asked, how satisfied are you with RTD services overall? 33% were very satisfied and 33% were somewhat dissatisfied. 17% is satisfied and 17% is very dissatisfied. So it's basically a split, 50-50. Maybe not a surprise, Director, based on what you hear from constituents every day. We are at the end of our call. Director, do you have some final closing remarks?
Well, the very final concern question for we at RTD are dedicated to changing the response to that poll question so that almost everyone is very satisfied or satisfied. And to do that, the help of people who are like our callers out there is really key. You may not get a response that you like right away. I hope you get a response and it will be thoughtful and